in my opinion. Then our give up on energy independence and even energy dominant. We're going to be dominant within 6 months, more than any other nation ×2. We had this all just 3 years ago. Our raging crime statistics, if you look in Democrat-run cities, numbers the likes of which we have never seen before. The open threats by various countries of the use of nuclear weapons, something never mentioned or discussed by outside nations during the Trump administration, and which could very well lead under the Biden administration's leadership to an all-out nuclear World War III. Can happen. We're not very far away from it, believe it or not. An economy that has been crippled by the biggest inflation we have seen in more than 60 years, and a military that I used to defeat ISIS in 4 weeks. They said it would take 4 years. 4 weeks. To kill al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, that has now gone woke at the top levels by trying to indoctrinate everyone down to the lowest ranking patriot. But now they have really started efforts by indicting the 45th president of the United States, who received $75 million votes, which is more than any sitting president in the history of our country. And in the wings, they've got a local racist Democrat district attorney in Atlanta who is doing everything in her power to indict me over an absolutely perfect phone call, even more perfect than the one I made with the president of Ukraine. Remember, I kept saying that's a perfect call. This one was more perfect. Nobody said, sir, you shouldn't say that. Many people on the phone were hung up in disgust because of something I inappropriately said, because nothing was said wrong. In fact, at the end of the call, we agreed to continue our conversation about election fraud, specifically in Georgia, at a later time. Many people on the phone, including lots of lawyers, nobody found anything wrong with that perfect call until a book promotion tour many months later. All of a sudden they say, you know, I remember Trump making a call. Let's look at that. This fake case was brought only to interfere with the upcoming 2024 election, and it should be dropped immediately. Then you have a radical left lunatic known as a bomb thrower who is harassing hundreds of my people day after day over the boxes hoax. You know, the boxes hoax, as we call it. Just so everyone knows, I come under what's known as the Presidential Records Act, which was designed and approved by Congress long ago just for this reason. Under the act, as we call it, to negotiate with NARA, the National Archives and Records Administration.
I'm going to switch to a feed with a little better audio here, guys. So 1 second. But we are live on YouTube now. If you're having issues on Rumble, you probably didn't hear me just say that, so it doesn't matter.
Just so everyone knows, administration, which as of this date is a radical left troublemaking organization that red flags the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights as dangerous and triggering. Can you imagine? This is what we have to deal with. But there is no criminality under the Presidential Records Act. That is not what it's all about. We were negotiating in very good faith, proper way, in order to return some or all of the documents that I openly and in very plain sight brought with me to Mar-A-Lago from our beautiful White House, just as virtually every other president has done in the past.
Okay, we've been listening into the former president as he makes remarks at Mar-A-Lago. We initially took this event thinking he was going to talk about the indictment today, being charged with 34 felony counts in Manhattan. It has turned into a speech of a list of grievances and, of course, some falsehoods.
Douchebags. Okay, hold on, guys. I just don't want to do PBS. Is that audio okay?
Who would think that that could happen today?
Is that audio okay? Just a minute?
It's about the same as the last one. It needs to be turned up, in other words.
Yeah, I don't know how to. Oh, here, let's try that. God,
They're using it now.
what is going on?
They're using it now, in addition to everything else, to win elections. Apparently, they're not looking at me through the view of the Non-Criminal Presidential Records Act.
Let's see if
They
Rumble's
came
back
up
up
with
yet.
a new one. This is a new one. And they're looking at me through the Espionage Act. Think of that. How does that sound? Of 1917, where the penalty
Gonna stick with this for a little while, guys. Sorry.
death, even though that is absolutely
Unless you can get
nothing
access to Rumble,
do
Kyle.
with openly taking
I'm getting
boxes,
500 service errors.
other things to my home, which President Obama has done, the Bushes have done, Jimmy Carter's done, Ronald Reagan has done. Everybody's done. In fact, Hillary Clinton got rid of 33,000 emails, and that was okay. But nobody's done it like Joe Biden. This lunatic special prosecutor named Jack Smith, I wonder what it was prior to a change, who others of his ilk say he's even worse than they are, is only looking at Trump, yet Joe Biden took massive amounts more documents, even removed many boxes to Chinatown. You believe that? He's got $10 million from China. Where did that come from? I guess they were banking on Hunter's expertise, and had others stored in unsecured offices in Pennsylvania and strewn all over his garage floor, where his now very famous Corvette is also stored. All over the floor, including classified documents. But that's okay. Perhaps most importantly, he has 1,850 boxes in Delaware, which he is refusing to give up. But isn't that real obstruction? That's obstruction. As president, I have the right to declassify documents. And the process is automatic. If I take them with me, it's automatic. Declassify. Biden was vice president. He had absolutely no right to declassify as vice president. He doesn't come under the Non-Criminal Presidential Records Act. He comes under the very criminal Federal Records Act, unfortunately for him, but it's not going to matter because they don't follow the law, which has very severe penalties. He had classified documents that he took while he was a senator, which is absolutely inexcusable. And other senators, including Democrats, are outraged. But he's not being harassed and hounded like the people who work for me are. In fact, they seem to have forgotten about his documents entirely. So many, thousands and thousands. It's okay with him. They like to say that I'm obstructing, which I'm not, because I was working with NARA very nicely until the raid on my home. But Biden is obstructing by making it impossible to get the 1,850 boxes or explain why many documents were located in Chinatown. Can't explain it. Why were they in Chinatown? I don't know. Lastly, I'm under investigation. This time a civil investigation by another racist in reverse, who also campaigned on, I will get Trump. I will get him. This was her campaign. Never ran for office. I will get him. Her name is Letitia James. And she proclaimed while campaigning, quote, I look forward to going into the office of the Attorney General every single day, suing him, and then going home. Before she knew me. She announced, what is fueling my soul right now is Trump. And that she had her eyes on Trump Tower. Those eyes are focused on Trump Tower. Didn't know the young lady. She even assured her supporters in an election promise that we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the ass. He's going to know my name personally. And then she claimed that I was an illegitimate president. Think of it. With all we did on energy, with all we did on the military, taxes, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest regulation cuts in history, right to try, people able to get drugs now that aren't approved. Hopefully you don't have that problem. Letitia James vowed to use every area of the law to, quote, investigate President Trump and his business transactions. Those transactions are going to be investigated, she said. And that of her family and his family, because we're going after his family and we're going after them hard. This is all before entering office and all before knowing anything at all about me, but she's going to get me. This is why, along with unrelenting crime, so many people and companies are leaving New York. She said that I falsified my financial statements, but in fact, we're proving and will prove that my financial statements were substantially more than we submitted, not less. And in all cases, have a strong disclaimer clause in them, which tells the institutions that may look at that if they want to, not to rely on the statement. But they've got a problem with their case because, number one, I'm very underleveraged. They can't believe it. All the stuff they read and gave, and have very little debt relative to the value of assets. And importantly, not one bank has lost even $1. She was investigating me to save banks. They have very good lawyers. But they didn't lose $1 with us during this period of time. In fact, the banks we're talking about made almost $200 million off Donald Trump, and they liked me very much. We never missed a payment, never got a default notice, had a great relationship with all of them. I don't need banks. We have a lot of cash. Built a great business with my family, built a fantastic business. I have a son here who's done a great job, and I have another son here who's done a great job. And Ivanka, and Barron will be great someday. He's tall, and he's smart. But I have a great family, and they've done a fantastic job, and we appreciate it very much. They've done great. So she's suing me over banks that weren't defrauded, when she should be focused on violent crime that's driving people out of the state. This is a persecution, not an investigation. She's put our family through hell. It's cost hundreds of millions of dollars to defend, but our heads are held very, very high. They want to settle the case, but I want no part of that. So here we are now. It's where we were today, in a city that was so great just 4 or 5 years ago. But now we're there, spend time there today, as you possibly read, with a local failed district attorney charging a former president of the United States for the first time in history, on a basis that every single pundit and legal analyst said, there is no case, there's no case. They kept saying, there's no case. Virtually everyone. But it's far worse than that, because he knew there was no case. That's why last week he delayed for a month and then immediately took that back and threw this ridiculous indictment together. Came out today, everybody said, this is not really an indictment, there's nothing here. My lawyers came to me and they said, there's nothing here. They're not even saying what you did. The criminal is the district attorney because he illegally leaked massive amounts of grand jury information, for which he should be prosecuted, or at a minimum, he should resign. and Alvin Bragg's wife confirmed a report that claimed her husband has Trump nailed on felonies. She has since locked down her Twitter account. His chief prosecutor, who represented the Democrats and crooked Hillary Clinton in a firm run by Chuck Schumer's brother, Robert, he quit the firm in order to go to work in the DA office in order to get Trump. Can you imagine that? Hillary Clinton's lawyer, Democrat firm. Ultimately, he quit as chief prosecutor because Bragg didn't think he had a case. Think of that same guy that brought this ridiculous thing today. Yet during his investigation, this prosecutor named Mark Pomerantz wrote and published a book saying all sorts of privileged things, has been very strongly reprimanded. He was reprimanded so strongly. I've never seen anything like it. That's probably the end of it. But what he did was probably very illegal. But he was very, very strongly reprimanded. Even District Attorney Bragg was furious with him. They were having a tremendous fight in the office because of it. But hope is never lost because various prosecutors in the DA's office also quit because they thought President Trump was being treated very unfairly. How about that? Isn't that great? Oh, I love them. I'd like to meet them. I'd like to meet them. The DA's office even had a webpage. Meet the team of executives who have done this to President Trump. That was the title. Isn't that nice? They immediately had to take it down. Meanwhile, overall crime in New York was up 30% last year, much more than that the year before, with felony assaults, robberies, and burglaries all up by massive, massive numbers. Not the same place that I know, not the same place that you know. And this is where we are right now. I have a Trump-hating judge with a Trump-hating wife and family whose daughter worked for Kamala Harris and now receives money from the Biden-Harris campaign, and a lot of it. We recently had another trial, and the same judge told the fine man who worked for me for many, many years that if you admit your guilt, you will be in jail for 90 days. But if you don't, if we go through a trial and you're found guilty, you're going away for 10 years and maybe longer, which for a 75-year-old man with a great family really means life. What the prosecutors and judge did to that man, I will never forget, because it's right out of the old Soviet Union. That's where we are. They said, you say anything about Trump, meaning that's bad, and you won't even have to serve the 90 days. You'll walk free. And they say that to many of my employees. We have this Jack Smith lunatic threatening people every single day through his representatives. They're threatening jail terms. But talk about Trump and you'll go free. This is where we are as a nation. Who would have thought? They can't beat us at the ballot box, so they try and beat us through the law. That's the country in which we live, however, right now. The USA is a mess. Our economy is crashing. Inflation is out of control. Russia has joined with China. Can you believe that? Saudi Arabia has joined with Iran. China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea have formed together as a menacing and destructive coalition. Would have never happened if I were your president. Would never have happened. Nor would Russia attacking Ukraine have happened. All of those lives would be saved. All of those beautiful cities would be standing. Our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard, which will be our greatest defeat, frankly, in 200 years. There will be no defeat like that. That will take us away from being even a great power. If you took the 5 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done. Incredibly, we are now a failing nation. We are a nation in decline. And now these radical left lunatics want to interfere with our elections by using law enforcement. We can't let that happen. With all of this being said, and with a very dark cloud over our beloved country, I have no doubt, nevertheless, that we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, there it is.
Well, I never would have thought that we would be live streaming Trump's speech to YouTube. That was a shocker. But we had some technical difficulties, and there it is. He kind of cut that short. I thought that was going to go a little longer, but is what it is. He definitely hit on some of the key points. Honestly, I think this is the first time I've heard him say that we're no longer going to be the world standard for a currency. I don't think I've heard him say that before.
Yeah, I haven't heard it say either. It's going to be a huge issue for sure in the next few years.
Yeah.
More fuel to the fire. I mean, this is exactly what he said was going to happen. It's essentially prophecy, just future-proving past over and over and over again.
100%. Kyle, what were your thoughts on his statements regarding the case?
I mean, it's kind of what I expected. I think he sounded a mix of rally Trump and presidential Trump, and a bit more presidential Trump.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably really good, because there's normies and people who are maybe thinking about Trump not running in 2024. They're thinking about other possible candidates that are running, but they like Trump and they're upset he's been indicted. So I would expect they probably tuned in for this speech, or at least are going to be looking for clips of it. And they're going to see someone who today was persecuted and is still being wrongly accused of so many crimes, like he has been for years. And I think if I'm a normie like that, who is maybe kind of middle of the road on Trump after 2020 and thinking about DeSantis or someone else, I think you would probably see this and think, I'd sure like to vote for Trump and win and defeat these bastards, and really shove it in their face that I still support Trump no matter what you accuse him of. So I think that's a sentiment that's probably really common right now among people. There's some of us who are just Trump. We're ride or die with Trump, and that's just how we are. But there's others who like Trump, but they're thinking about other candidates, and they're worried Trump can't win. And I think tonight they're in solidarity with the ride or die Trump supporters.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the most important aspect of it, is all of the people who will now be drawn to Trump, because he's clearly the front runner. There is nobody else who can possibly take him on. So you have two choices. You can either fight for your own freedom by voting for Donald Trump and supporting Donald Trump, or you can support this illegitimate regime that's in power currently and that is perverting and twisting our justice system to be used as a tool for political destruction. And for the people who prior to tonight maybe were hoping DeSantis would get in the race, or maybe were considering voting for Democrats, there's no choice. I mean, you vote for Trump or you vote for the destruction of everything you hold dear. And we are watching it happen in real time before our eyes. And it's going to accelerate. It will get bad. I am fully prepared for that.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think it's any accident that rates went up as badly as they did. I mean, what the Fed did to basically trigger a run in the bank right at around the time when this indictment was going to hit, I don't think is any accident. And they're just going to put the pressure on hardcore and hope that, I guess, people don't watch the trial. But we're probably going to see a lot of people flip to the side of Trump, I think, over the next year for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, the trial's a ways away. And there's so many aspects to the whole run on the banks, too, even like the Peter Thiel aspect. I mean, there's that whole thing I feel like it was Trump's doing, if you're asking me. But yeah, it's been interesting, just to say the least. The timing of this, there's so many different narratives going on. It's hard to even keep up with all of it. But Trump just seemed unfazed. Like that was Trump didn't care. He almost seemed like more like disappointed. Like, I can't believe these effers are doing it again. But he's still like, he wasn't pissed off. He wasn't defeated by any means. Like, we're good to go.
I feel like there's, you know, this is exactly what I expected from him. You know, I mean, like I feel the exact same way as Donald Trump. I'm resigned to the fact that this is the tactics that they are going to use. They're not doing anything that surprises me. And I think Kyle was absolutely spot on. You know, I mean, more presidential than rally. You know, I mean, it wasn't just a bunch of gotcha moments. I mean, like, this is a statement that will be watched in its entirety, and people will pay attention to it. It's not just him poking fun at his political rivals or anything like that, or acting goofy. This is not the time to act goofy. You know, this is, you know, like somber and serious, because this is a serious moment, you know, but I don't think President Trump is worried. I don't think that, you know, he's not concerned about this. I mean, you know, in the way that, you know, this is a concerning event, obviously, but I don't believe that Trump thinks this is going to stop him. At the end of the day, I mean, this is all about exposing fully every last element of this failed and corrupt system. And in order to get people to want to get rid of it, they have to believe that it's failing. They have to believe that it's corrupt. And it's being shown to them.
Yeah. Exactly. I think that the number one tell that Trump is comfy and not worried about this is that he hasn't shut up this entire time. If he was really under a threat of a criminal prosecution convicting him, he would shut up, because his lawyers would be telling him, shut up or I'm not going to represent you. He's not worried at all, and he's not shutting up. I think he may dial it back maybe a tad just to not get a gag order. But even then, I don't think a gag order is coming. That was fake news. The judge doesn't want to open up a 1A case over, especially with somebody who is running for a candidate for office. The judge doesn't want to do that. So I think Trump has enough room to keep doing what he's doing. He just may be a little bit careful in his language. But yeah, to me, that's the number one tell that Trump is so comfy, is that he's still speaking and speaking about the case. You guys also on the Liz Truss thing, just real quick, Justin, I want to say on the Liz Truss, when she was, or Liz Harrison, whatever, the last clip we played before he started speaking, Liz Harrington, about the case being dismissed. I wouldn't expect them to file that for at least a month or so, because there's a New York state law that they have to turn over discovery within 35 days. And I think the judge gave them an extension of 65 days. They had he doubled it to give them some more time. So there's no way that Trump's team is going to file dismiss, I don't think, until they get some discovery. You know, like they're going to want to get that first and then try and get it thrown out. So anyway,
that's a big part of this. Go ahead, Justin.
I was just going to ask if you guys think the left and the deep state, or even the media people, were disappointed that Trump wasn't like, oh, I'm so sad I got indicted. Like, you know, did they really think he was going to just back off and go with his tail between his legs?
Well, I'm sure they were. You saw one of the clips we were covering, they freaking cut out.
Yeah, I saw. That's kind of why I asked the question.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. They cut out instead of actually playing what he was saying. They're just going to spin it, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The media is done at this point. As this plays out, and nothing happens out of this, they're done. But Kyle, can you comment real quick, because this is a grand jury indictment? They don't have to give exculpatory evidence, right?
During the grand jury, they didn't.
Yep. So that's where,
that story that went around about how Bragg has 600 documents that he hasn't turned over, and that shows he's corrupt. That was fake news. A grand jury is always one-sided. He has the grand jury. The prosecutor has he doesn't have to turn over exculpatory evidence. That happens during the trial. So that would be some of what Trump would get in that discovery.
Yeah.
But Bragg, this whole thing has been weird. Like, all the leaks out. Grand jury is supposed to be completely secret. You're not supposed to get any leaks. The prosecutor's not supposed to be doing press conferences and television interviews. I mean, this whole thing has been not how grand juries are conducted. which just
right.
goes to Trump's point about how this is a political prosecution to try and get in the way of 2024. And I heard, I said this the other night, I think it was on Devolution Power maybe, but it's worth repeating that the rumors from Capitol Hill are that Dems are excited about this because they think their polling tells them that there's Trump fatigue in the electorate. And they think that by going after Trump, they're going to be able to increase that fatigue and reduce Trump's popularity and reduce his support because people are tired of him. And I just cannot think of any analysis that is going to backfire more so than that.
Yes.
like that is the exact wrong analysis, and I hope they stick with it.
Right.
I think they will. They have to lean into it. What else do they have? You know, I mean, like there's nothing else. It's going to be spectacularly bad for all of them.
Yes.
So you think there's going to be any backlash for the leaks?
No.
I think that, you know,
It
Trump's
depends.
team will probably make as much of a deal out of it as they can, but I don't think anybody is going to get they're not going to get indicted for leaking that information. It just reeks of desperation. And the people who would prosecute the leakers are probably some of the same people who leaked the information.
Right.
Yeah. I don't see Bragg being held responsible for anything like that. But if the leaks came from the DOJ personnel that were in the Manhattan office, they could get in trouble with IG. They could get in trouble with IG Horowitz because IG Horowitz last week told Congress, please give me subpoena power so that I can go after DOJ lawyers and prosecutors and whatnot who are engaging in unethical behavior and whatnot. So, and he wants that power, and there is a bill to get it done, and it almost passed last year. So if that passes, then IG Horowitz, if he gets a complaint about these prosecutors in the Manhattan DA office that are employed by DOJ, he can subpoena them to come in and do an interview and see if they were the leakers.
I mean, if a leak happened, there should be an investigation. I don't know. I can't remember if there was one ever done for the SCOTUS leak that happened last year. There was. Okay. So, you know, what I'm trying to figure out is what was the benefit to leaking, if there was one at all. Do you guys have any take?
I mean, the day before, right? They leaked it the day before that there was 34 counts.
Right.
And that's really all they leaked, except for, I mean, I guess maybe felony information, but they didn't really leak all the details. Why do
I think it was for
early?
the press. I mean, it was just for the news cycle, so that they.
It was Michael Isikoff.
This narrative. Yeah,
Michael Isikoff again, dude.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, because I mean, like we've been talking about, most people aren't dialed in enough to even evaluate the basis of the case at all. They just hear indictment. Most American, I bet you if we did some man on the street right now or asked people, does an indictment mean somebody's been proven guilty of a crime? Most people would think yes. So you leak an indictment, it has a bunch of counts on it, sounds really bad. 90% of the population is like, oh, he must be guilty then. So
well, think of how many people over the years have just, assumed that Trump is guilty based upon the mainstream media narrative. He must have done something wrong. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't keep saying it over and over again. So yeah, there will definitely be some smooth-brained, low IQ elements of the population who just buy into it because it's easier.
Yeah. Those aren't really the people we're trying to reach here. No offense, but no offense to you smooth brainers watching. But we're trying to reach the
none of the Badlanders. No Badlanders watching will be smooth brained.
Yeah, we got some high IQ.
Got some rough brainers out there. Yeah.
Yeah, but for real though, I mean, it's the independence, and that's like I want to talk to more people like that. I need to talk to my brother-in-law again. He's the guy who I've been mentioning. Like I mentioned last night, Zach. He's the one who watches Ben Shapiro or listens to Ben Shapiro and thinks we need to move on to DeSantis now, right? It's just too much baggage for Trump. Right. It's just I don't understand how people could get that. Like when you have somebody who is so feared by the left and the mainstream media, like so feared, like they're so afraid of Trump. It's ridiculous. They can't get over him, but they're so afraid of him. I mean, why would you not want that guy as your guy?
Right. Well, most people don't know. I mean, half my family thinks Trump is like Hitler 2.0. So which is ridiculous. And the common element, and I think this is true for everybody who believes that, is you haven't actually looked into anything. As soon as you look into something, it's like, oh, there's nothing here. And it doesn't even, what has there been 7 witch hunt events over the past 10 years, something like that? So all you have to do is look into one of them.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that. It's like the narratives that they're getting from these people. And we kind of had this discussion already earlier when we were talking about the indictment with Bernie Bright and Chris Paul, but it's a lot of people still get their news from either the left or the Con Inc., right? Like it's like, okay, I'm finally going to get away from this left BS. I'm sick of it. I'm going to go watch Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, and these people. Like, it's really not that much of a, you're not stepping far enough away. You know what I mean? They're not pressing the issues either. They're not telling the full truth. They don't want Trump in either. It's unfortunate. That's our job. And you guys in watching, we're the ones that got to be spreading the news to those people. You got to help us get to them.
Yeah, exactly.
But guys, any other comments? I guess. I mean, we could probably wrap up. I think Story Hour is starting here soon. If they can get onto Rumble.
Yeah, it's actually still down for me. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
Same here.
It's not working at all.
Really? Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I know that like this is like in one view, this is a sad day for America and this is a really bad thing, but I can't help but be excited because I feel like Trump just won 2024 today. I just feel like Trump won. He won the primary. He won 2024. He set a precedent that's going to cause local DAs and AGs to go after swamp creatures within their jurisdiction. I just think this is a classic example of the deep state being so afraid of someone. They pursued him and got baited into bringing an indictment that they never should have brought. That's going to fall apart. Trump screamed, "Don't throw me in the briar patch," and they threw him in the briar patch. I mean, this like I completely get being upset about it because it is wrong. He doesn't deserve to be indicted for this. But I'm also just like, you dumb people. What have you done? Like I can't help it, you know? And
you guys got to see this.
Oh God, what's this?
The irony and sort of the karmic irony that it is a black DA that Donald Trump has to face. And that he is getting the full, he's being afforded all of the full protections of the law is something. The irony and sort of.
Give me a break.
I mean,
why is that ironic exactly? Like, where's the irony? I'm missing it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's coming from the person who's called him a white supremacist Nazi forever and racist. It's unreal. That's what they go to.
The clips I've seen of mainstream media, they don't seem that giddy about this. It seems like they're trying to force a victory. They don't seem that eager about it. And I really don't think they are. I think they know this is weak sauce.
And every single one of them does. I mean, this is, again, I just see this as their last ditch effort. Like, what else do they have? They don't have anything else. And they believe, or they're hoping, hoping against hope, that this will finally allow them to secure the ending of the story. But it's not going to. But everybody can see it for what it is. Even people who don't support Trump are coming out, as he said in his speech. I mean, people who don't like him are saying that they shouldn't have done this, not just because he was president, but because there's no crimes. There are no crimes. This will not pan out the way that the talking heads on CNN are hoping it will. But the only thing they can do is just show up and put on a brave face. Go get him, Tiger. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. Did you guys see this? What Elon Musk said today? He responded to Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer says, "I believe that Donald Trump will have a fair trial that follows the facts and the law. There's no place in our justice system for any outside influence or intimidation in the legal process. As the trial proceeds, protest is an American right, but all protests must be peaceful." Elon Musk responded, "To avoid losing the trust of the American public, it is important that our justice system pursue Democrats and Republicans with equal vigor. Whichever party most puts justice before nepotism is the one that deserves trust." He's basically calling the Dems out for politicizing this, and basically saying that they've committed crimes too. That's pretty baller, man.
Especially getting lectures from somebody like Chuck Schumer about what the proper process is. Like, come on, dude, give me a break.
Ridiculous. You guys, I don't really got anything else. I mean, I could hang out here longer if you guys want. I got nothing else to do tonight, but I don't want to.
I've got dinner on the way, so I'm good.
Yeah.
On the way. What'd you order, man?
Some tacos.
Taco Bell?
Not Taco Bell.
Okay.
It's
the Those
a
aren't
local
tacos.
Mexican restaurant.
If you would have said yes, I mean, I would have probably started pursuing like a Taco Bell sponsorship because I know that's Brian Cancon's favorite food. He gets that
Is
like
it?
every other day or
It's
every other
really
meal. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't, man. Anyway, guys, well, thanks for popping on tonight. Guys, make sure you stick around here on well, I guess not YouTube for those watching YouTube, but Rumble, because eventually when Rumble gets their stuff together, we'll have story hour yet tonight, and we have I have the Storm tonight, and then tomorrow regular schedule, Badlands Daily in the morning, and tomorrow night we got the Power Hour. Just human. Yeah, we'll be doing
Correct.
that. So that should be a banger. Yeah, guys. And you guys want to plug your stuff?
I've got Altered State tomorrow at
Here's
9
your
with Brad.
tacos.
That's the tacos. All right, I'm gonna peace.
Okay.
We'll see you guys.
See you, Zach.
Taco to you later.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll be on next Monday, 3 p.m. for Vigilant News, and then we'll have an interview coming out on Sunday. So
Awesome. Sounds good, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you when we see you. Have a good evening, everybody.
All right, see you guys.
Thank you so much for joining us, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up on this video. And a special thank you to all of our advertising partners. Please remember to shift your dollars to support those businesses that support Badlands Media. And if you're interested in advertising with Badlands yourself, reach out to Kitty Gillespie. Her email is ads.badlandsmedia@proton.me. That's ads.badlandsmedia@proton.me.